They say every school has a golden boy, the perfect one, the one teachers adore, students admire, coaches depend on, the one who's already halfway to some shining future everyone expects from him. At Jefferson High, that boy was Adrian Cole. He had the smile. He had the looks. He had the talent. He had the life everyone wanted. And somehow, he chose me. I didn't ask for it. I didn't expect it. I didn't even understand it when it started. I was just a quiet kid who sat in the back of the room, trying to survive each day without drawing too much attention. But Adrian noticed me anyway. He pushed past the rumors, past the expectations, past the rules everyone said he had to follow. He risked everything, his reputation, his friendships, the version of himself the entire school needed him to be, just to stand next to me, and I ruined it. Not because I wanted to, not because he deserved it, but because fear is louder than love when you've never been told it's safe to feel anything at all. This isn't a story about two boys who defied the world and won. It's a story about what happens when the world is too loud, and you're too scared to hold on to the one person who saw you completely. Before we begin this story, a story of love, guilt, consequences, and the moment everything shattered, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications, because what you're about to hear might feel a little too real. I never understood why people said high school stories always start the same way, with a moment you don't realize is important until it's already too late. Mine started on an ordinary Monday morning, the kind where the hallways echoed with locker doors slamming and teachers yelling about being late. Nothing special, nothing memorable, nothing that should have changed my life. But it did, because that was the morning Aiden Lawson, Jefferson High's golden boy, the student everyone adored, the one with perfect grades, perfect smiles, perfect everything, looked at me like he actually saw me, not the invisible kid in the back row, not the quiet one who blended into walls. He looked at me like I mattered. I wasn't used to people looking at me at all. I had just closed my locker when someone bumped into me hard enough to make my books fall to the floor. Typical. I knelt to pick them up, already bracing for whoever was to laugh or walk away. But instead, a voice said, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry. Here, let me help." I looked up, and there he was, Aiden Lawson. Sunlight behind him from the hallway windows, blonde hair slightly messy from track practice, blue varsity jacket unzipped, smile soft and apologetic. He crouched down to help me gather my things, his fingers brushing mine by accident. My heartbeat jumped like it didn't know how to function anymore. "Didn't mean to run into you," he said, handing me my notebook. "You okay?" "Yeah, I managed, though my voice cracked embarrassingly. "I'm fine." He smiled, the kind of smile that could ruin someone if they weren't careful. "Good," he said gently. "I'm Aiden. I know." It slipped out before I could stop it. He laughed quietly. "Right. Guess it's kind of hard not to." Anyone else saying something like that would sound cocky. Aiden didn't. He said it like he wished it weren't true. Before I could say anything else, someone called his name from across the hallway. Probably one of the varsity guys. He stood, hesitated, then said, "See you around?" "Caleb." I blurted, "My name's Caleb." Aiden's eyes warmed. "See you around, Caleb." And he walked off, leaving me with my books, a racing heart, and a feeling I couldn't name yet. Something between a spark and a warning. For the next few days, I tried convincing myself that moment meant nothing. That Aiden bumped into people all the time. That he probably apologized to everyone like that. That the softness in his voice wasn't real. That his eyes weren't looking at me specifically. But then things got weird, because he kept finding me. In the cafeteria line. In the library. Outside the science building. Near my locker again. Every time he waved. Every time he smiled like he was actually glad to see me. And every time I pretended my heart wasn't doing somersaults in my chest. The thing about Aiden was, he wasn't supposed to talk to me. He was the kind of guy everyone wanted. Athletes, cheerleaders, teachers, parents. I was the kind of guy people forgot existed. So when he approached me on Friday after school, I genuinely thought he was talking to someone else. "Caleb," he called out. I turned slowly. He jogged toward me, slightly out of breath. You heading home? He asked. Yeah, I said. Walking. Oh, cool. I walked too. You live like 2 blocks from here, I said before thinking. Near the park. His eyebrows lifted. You know where I live? I felt my face heat up. I didn't mean it's just everyone knows. He laughed softly. Relax. I'm just messing with you. I tried to breathe normally. Mind if I walk with you? He asked. My brain short-circuited. Why? Aiden tilted his head. Because I like talking to you? I didn't know what to do with that sentence. It felt dangerous and comforting at the same time. We walked in silence at first, not awkward, just careful. He kicked loose gravel on the sidewalk. I kept my hands shoved deep in my pockets. So, he said eventually, my friends think I'm weird. Why? Because I keep hanging out with you. I stopped walking. Oh, I whispered. Sorry. No, Caleb, he said quickly. I didn't mean it like that. He stepped closer, lower his voice like he didn't want anyone in the whole world to hear what came next. I like being around you, he said quietly. You're different. My heart almost cracked my ribs. Different how? He shrugged, eyes softer than before. You don't expect anything from me. I don't expect anything, because I never thought you'd talk to me. I'm talking to you now. We held eye contact for 2 seconds too long. 2 seconds that felt like stepping off a cliff. A car horn blared behind us. We broke apart fast. I said awkwardly, so this is my street. Aiden nodded. Right. See you Monday? Yeah, Monday. He gave me one last look. Something unreadable, something dangerous, before turning away. And I stood there long after he left, replaying his voice, his smile, the way he said he liked being around me. That weekend, I couldn't focus on anything. Every thought circled back to him. Every moment felt like waiting for Monday. When Monday finally came, I didn't see him at his locker. Not before first period. Not at lunch. Not in the hall. A strange dread built in my chest. After school, when I stepped outside, I found him leaning against the brick wall near the bushes, hands in his pockets, head down. Aiden, I said. He looked up, eyes red. Like he hadn't slept, or like he'd been holding something in so tight it hurt. Caleb, he breathed. What's wrong? He walked toward me slowly, too slowly, until he was close enough that I felt the warmth of him. My friends, he whispered. They think I'm hiding something. I swallowed. Are you? He blinked hard. I don't know. Are you scared? Yeah, he said, voice cracking. Of myself. Before I could answer, he added, but I'm more scared of losing you. Something shattered inside me. Something quiet and fragile and terrified. Aiden, I whispered. He took one step closer. And in that moment, with tension thick in the air, with the world narrowing to space between us, I felt it. This wasn't just friendship. Not anymore. And whatever we were stepping into, it was going to break us. I didn't sleep the night after everything happened in the hallway. I kept replaying the moment he looked at me, really looked at me, like he was standing on the edge of something terrifying and beautiful at the same time. And then the moment the world intruded again, ripping him away before either of us could understand what we had just stepped into. By morning, I felt like someone had reached inside my chest and twisted everything out of place. Still, part of me hoped he would find me before class, like he always did. The golden boy never let a day start without being seen, without lighting up the hallways with that confident stride that made everyone turn. But that morning, he was nowhere. I stood at my locker longer than I needed to, pretending to rearrange things that didn't matter. My notebook, my sketch pencils, the textbook I wouldn't open anyway. Students navigate around me, loud and alive in their own dramas. But all I could do was wait for a glimpse of him. When he finally appeared, he was surrounded by the football guys, his people. But he didn't look like their son anymore. He looked dimmer, tired, lost behind his perfect smile. And for a moment, I thought he might look my way. But he didn't. His eyes passed over me like I was a stranger. The bell rang, loud and sharp, forcing me to move. In class, he sat 3 rows ahead, shoulders tense, jaw clenched. Usually he turned around at least once, even just a smirk or nod, but that day he didn't look back at all. At lunch, I sat alone in the far corner of the cafeteria, pretending to read, pretending it didn't matter that he hadn't spoken a single word to me. I kept waiting for him to come over, with that careless confidence he always had, and drop into the chair across from me like he owned the space between us. But again, he didn't. Instead, he sat with his usual crew. They joked loudly, shoved each other, acted like the world was simple. And he played along, laughing at the right moments, smiling when they expected him to, but his eyes drifted. Every few seconds, he glanced toward the back of the cafeteria, toward me, but every time I thought he might stand up, he looked away again. My stomach twisted. He wasn't avoiding me because he didn't care. He was avoiding me because he did. That was worse. So much worse. By the time the last bell rang, the hallways breathed with that chaotic energy of freedom. Lockers slamming, shoes pounding on floors, voices ricocheting between walls. I didn't expect him to wait for me, but he did. He stood by the side door near the library, shoulders stiff, hands shoved deep into the pockets of his varsity jacket. When he saw me, he inhaled sharply, like he'd been holding his breath all day. "We need to talk," he said. I froze. "Okay, not here." He jerked his head toward the exit. "Follow me." Something about his tone, quieter, almost shaky, made my pulse pound. We walked outside into the cool afternoon air, past students spilling into the parking lot. He kept moving, fast and focused, until we reached a quiet spot behind the gym, where only the hum of distant traffic filled the space. He stopped. He didn't turn around at first. "I screwed everything up," he said. My heart tightened. "No, you didn't. You don't understand." His voice cracked just a little. "I'm supposed to be perfect. I'm supposed to have everything figured out. Everyone looks at me like I'm some kind of model for what a guy should be. And yesterday," he finally turned to face me. "Yesterday I felt something I'm not supposed to feel." I swallowed hard. You don't get to choose what you feel. But I do get to lose everything because of it. His breath trembled. "My teammates already think something's off. My dad has expectations. My girlfriend." I flinched before I could stop myself. He winced. "Evan, I haven't touched her in weeks. I can't even look at her without thinking about you. That destroyed me in a way I couldn't explain." "Then why are you avoiding me?" I whispered. "Because I don't know who I am when I'm around you," he said. "I don't know who I'm supposed to be. And I'm terrified." "Of me?" "No." He stepped closer, just enough to feel his warmth. "Of what you make me feel." The world felt suddenly too quiet, too fragile. "Caleb," I said softly, "you're allowed to feel something real. You don't have to run from it." He shook his head. "But I do, because if I choose you, I lose everything else." His words hit like a punch. "And if you don't choose me?" I asked. He didn't answer right away. Instead, he stepped in even closer, our faces inches apart, and his voice dropped to something trembling and honest. "If I don't choose you, I lose myself." My breath faltered. "Then what do you want?" "I don't know." His voice broke fully this time. "I want you, and I want my old life, and I can't have both, and I hate myself for it." Silence settled around us, heavy, suffocating. Finally, he reached out, barely touching my wrist, a ghost of a touch, like he wanted to hold me but didn't trust himself to do it. "Tell me what to do," he whispered. I stepped forward, heart pounding, throat tight. "Caleb, I can't decide your life for you." His eyes squeezed shut, as if the truth was too sharp to handle. "So you're not choosing me either," he said quietly. I felt something inside me break. "I didn't say that." "But you didn't say yes." I wanted to tell him I cared. I wanted to tell him I felt everything he felt, and more. But fear tightened around my ribs like a fist. "Caleb," I whispered, "I don't want to ruin your life." He laughed bitterly, the kind of laugh that hurts more than crying. "Too late," he said. "You already did." He stepped back, wiping his face roughly. "We're done here," he muttered, and he walked away. Not fast, not angry, just broken. And that was the moment I realized the truth I had been avoiding. I didn't just fall for the school's golden boy. I destroyed him. I didn't sleep that night, not even for a minute. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw him, Aiden Hale, the golden boy of Ridgeview High, the one everyone admired, the one I should have never gotten close to. And yet, there he was in my mind. The way he looked at me in the empty classroom, the way his voice trembled when he said he wasn't okay, and the way I walk away from him even though every part of me wanted to do the opposite. By morning, I felt hollow, like something had been scooped out of my chest and replaced with a storm. When I got to school, people were already whispering. They weren't subtle. They rarely were. "Did you see Aiden yesterday?" He looked messed up. Something's going on with him. Maybe it's about that quiet kid, what's his name again? My stomach tightened. I walked faster, kept my head down, tried to pretend their words didn't burn. But then I turned the corner and stopped. Aiden stood at his locker, alone. He looked like he hadn't slept either. His hair was messy, his eyes red, and there was a tension in his posture I'd never seen before. The popular boy mask wasn't just cracked. It had fallen apart. He glanced up and saw me. For just 1 second, something flickered inside him. Relief, vulnerability, maybe even hope. Then someone called his name from down the hall. "Aiden, there you are." His teammates, the loud ones, the ones who filled the hall with the confidence of boys who didn't know what fear felt like. Aiden straightened quickly, too quickly. He wiped his expression clean, closed his locker, and put on that easy smile, the one he wore for everyone else. I lowered my eyes and kept walking. I told myself it was better this way, safer this way, necessary. But the truth was painful and stupidly simple. I couldn't look at him without feeling something I wasn't ready to understand. I skipped lunch and hid in the art room. It was the only place in school where the air didn't suffocate me. I took out my sketchbook and tried to draw something, anything, but my hand shook too much. A knock tapped softly on the open door. I looked up. Aiden. My pulse jumped. He stepped inside slowly, quietly, as if the room were made of glass, and any wrong movement would shatter everything. "Hey," he said, voice softer than I'd ever heard it. My throat tightened. "Hey." He hesitated, then approached the desk opposite mine. "Can I sit?" I nodded because words felt dangerous. He sat, not close, but not far, just enough to make the air between us feel like it was charged. He exhaled shakily. "You didn't come to lunch." I wasn't hungry. He studied me for a second. "You're avoiding me." "No, I'm not." "You are." I looked down, unsure what to say. He leaned forward slightly. "Did I do something wrong?" My head snapped up. "What?" "No." "Then why won't you look at me?" he asked. His voice wasn't angry. It was tired, bruised. It made my chest ache. "Aiden," I said quietly, "yesterday was a lot." He swallowed. "Yeah, I know. I don't want things to become complicated. You have your life, your friends, your—" "Stop," he said abruptly. I froze. Aiden rubbed a hand over his face, then looked at me with an honesty that felt almost unbearable. "My life is what you think it is." Then, quieter, "Not anymore." A silence stretched between us, heavy and fragile. He pressed his fingertips to the edge of my desk. "Yesterday, when I told you I didn't understand what I was feeling, I wasn't lying. I don't know what this is. I don't know what I'm allowed to want." His voice cracked faintly. "But I know I don't want to lose you." My heart twisted painfully. "Aiden, you barely know me." "Then let me," he said immediately, almost desperately. "Please." The word please hit harder than I expected. He continued, "I feel calmer when I'm with you, and that scares me because I've never felt like that around anyone, not even with girls." The confession lingered in the air, trembling. "Aiden," I breathed, "people are already talking. They're watching you. You know how this school works." "I don't care," he said. "Yes, you do." I whispered, "You have everything to lose." He flinched, and just like that, the truth sliced a space between us. I closed my sketchbook gently. I don't want to be the reason people turn on you. He stared at me, stunned. Is that what you think you'd do to me? I hesitated. I don't want to destroy your life. Aiden laughed, a bitter, broken sound. You think you have that kind of power? You think this is what would ruin me? I didn't know what to say. He leaned forward, voice trembling with something between anger and heartbreak. What ruins me, he said, is you pretending you don't feel anything. My breath caught. Aiden. No, he whispered. Don't say you don't. I see it. I feel it. Yesterday, you want to say something. You almost did. I did. God, I almost did. And today, he continued, you're pushing me away because you think you're protecting me. I am, I said. He shook his head. You're not. You're just hurting us both. Silence. Sharp. Devastating. Aiden looked down at his hands, then back at me. I don't want to be confused anymore, he said softly. I don't want to keep pretending everything's fine when it's not. Then, almost inaudible, I need you to tell me if this is real. I opened my mouth, and every emotion I buried roared to surface. But before the words could form, a voice shouted from down the hall. Aiden, dude, we're going to be late. His teammates, his world, his reality. Aiden froze. His jaw tightened. The fear I'd seen yesterday flickered back into his eyes. He stood slowly. I have to go. Aiden! He paused at the doorway, turning slightly toward me. His voice cracked as he said, I just wish you'd stop being so afraid of me. Then he walked away. And this time, he didn't look back. I stood in the middle of the art room, breath shaking, heart pounding, knowing something irreversible had just begun. Something that would pull us both toward a future neither of us was ready for, and a heartbreak we wouldn't survive. I didn't go home after school. I couldn't. My legs carried me across the campus like they had a mind of their own, moving faster and faster until I reached the old football bleachers. The place no one used anymore since the new stadium was built. The metal seats were cold, the field overgrown, but it was the only place where I could breathe, or at least try to, because everything inside me felt like it was falling apart. Caleb had pulled away from me 3 times now, each time closer, each time more terrified, each time more real. And every time he did, I felt something inside me tear a little. Not because he didn't care, but because he cared too much and didn't know what to do with it. And somehow, that made it hurt even more. I sat in the middle row, pulling my knees up, burying my face for a moment just to steady myself. The wind brushed against my hair, cold enough to sting, and somewhere in the distance I heard voices. Laughter echoing from dorm windows, a reminder that life kept moving while mine felt stuck between 2 breaths. Then I heard footsteps, slow, hesitant, familiar. My chest tightened before I even looked up. Caleb. He stood at the foot of the bleachers, hands shoved deep into his hoodie, expression tense like he wasn't sure if he was welcome there. Or maybe he wasn't sure if he could handle being near me again. Evan, he said softly. I forced myself to sit up straighter. You found me. I always do, he murmured. He climbed the steps slowly, each clank of metal echoing far too loudly in the quiet moment. When he finally sat beside me, close, but not touching, neither of us spoke for nearly a minute. It was him who broke the silence. You left school fast, he said quietly. I needed air. He nodded. Yeah, me too. Another long pause. Finally, I said, why did you pull away again? His jaw tensed. Because they were watching. They're always watching. He looked at me, eyes slightly red. I know, and I hate it. I swallowed. So stop letting them decide what you do. It's not that easy, he said through a tight breath. I know it's not easy. I shot back, my voice rising. But every time you run, it hurts. It hurts me, and I know it hurts you too. He didn't deny it. He couldn't. Caleb leaned forward, elbows on his knees, hands clasped together. I'm scared, Evan. I know, I said softly. But of what? Of everything, he whispered. Of what this means. Of what people will say. Of what I'm feeling. Of losing the life I've always known. I felt my throat tighten. And what about losing me? His shoulders flinched, just a little, but enough to break me. He slowly turned to me. I don't want to lose you, but I'm afraid I already am. I didn't expect that. Not from him. Not from the boy who always pretended to be stronger than his own heartbeat. He ran a hand over his face, exhaling shakily. I can't think straight when I'm around you. I can't pretend I don't feel something. And I can't pretend that yesterday, the art room didn't happen. My chest tightened remembering it. The closeness. The confession on the tip of his tongue. The panic when someone called his name. I know you felt it too, he said, voice trembling. Tell me you didn't. I did. I whispered. You know I did. He closed his eyes, like hearing the truth was both a relief and a punishment. I don't know how to do this, he said. I don't know how to be someone else. You don't need to be someone else, I said firmly. You just need to stop lying to yourself. He opened his eyes, and I swear they looked glassy under the dim sunlight. And what if the truth ruins everything? Maybe it will, I said honestly, but running from it will ruin you. He let out a bitter laugh. You're not helping. I'm not trying to help, I said. I'm trying to make you see what's right in front of you. He looked away again, breathing unevenly. Caleb, I said softly, you can't keep going back and forth. You can't keep hurting us both because you're scared. I don't want to hurt you, he said sharply. But you are, I replied. Every time you walk away, every time you choose him over yourself, you're hurting both of us. He covered his face again, voice muffled. I don't know how to stop. Then choose, I said quietly. He stiffened. I hadn't planned to say it. It just slipped out, raw, heavy, too honest to take back. Choose what? He asked slowly. Choose what you want, I whispered. Not what they want. Not what people will think. You, what do you want? He stared at me for a long moment. Then he said the words I didn't expect. I want you. My breath caught. My heart stopped. Every part of me trembled. But then he whispered, but I don't know if I'm strong enough. The words shattered something inside me. Because wanting someone wasn't enough. Not when fear was bigger. Not when the world could crush him for loving the wrong person. And he knew it. He knew he wasn't ready. He looked down, voice breaking. I'm sorry, Evan. Don't be sorry, I said softly. Just be honest. I am being honest, he said. I want you. I can't stop thinking about you. But I'm terrified of what comes next. I swallowed hard. So what happens now? Caleb looked at me. Really looked. And in that moment I saw everything inside him. The longing, the confusion, the fear, the love he didn't know how to hold. I don't know, he whispered. We sat in silence. The wind picked up. The sky dimmed. The world moved on without us. And for the first time, I realized the story wasn't heading toward a happy ending. It was heading toward a choice. His choice. One that would break one of us. Or both. And he wasn't ready to make it. Not yet. I didn't sleep the night before. I didn't even pretend to. I lay awake staring at the cracks in the dorm ceiling, trying to slow the pounding in my chest, try to rehearse what I would say to him, if I even got the chance. But every version I imagined fell apart. Every apology sounded too small. Every reason sounded like an excuse. Because the truth was simple and brutal. Brandon risked everything for me, and I left him alone when it mattered most. The school felt colder the next morning, the hallways buzzing in that strange, electric way they do when everyone knows something but pretends they don't. People try to hide their stares, but they didn't need to. I felt every single one of them. I took the long way to class, hoping to avoid him, but also hoping, desperately, to run into him. But Brandon wasn't at his locker. He wasn't in the courtyard. He wasn't with his friends near the cafeteria. He wasn't anywhere. It shouldn't have surprised me. Not after yesterday. Not after what I had done. The memory hit me like a punch all over again. The stun hurt in his eyes, the way his voice shook when he whispered, I chose you, and the silence I gave him in return. I kept hearing it. I kept replaying it. And no matter how many times I tried to rewrite the moment in my head, I had already broken something I couldn't undo. He didn't show up to first period, or second, or third. By lunch, panic settled into my bones. I pushed through crowds, scanning faces, ignoring the whispers. Isn't it the guy who... But I thought Brandon was... Did something happen between them? Yes, something did happen. Something irreversible. I found myself walking toward the one place I hoped he wouldn't be, the empty bleachers behind the football field, the place he once said made him feel safe, even though safety was something a boy like him never truly had. I climbed the steps, my shoes echoing in the cold metal. Halfway up, I froze. He was there, sitting alone, hood up, hands clasped together, elbows on his knees, staring at the field like it held every answer he was too afraid to ask. My chest tightened painfully. "Brandon," I said quietly. He didn't look at me. I walked closer, slowly, like approaching something fragile, something wounded. "I've been looking for you," I said. "Why?" His voice was calm, too calm, the kind of calm that hides a storm behind it. "Because I need to talk to you." He finally turned his head. His eyes were red, not from crying, but from holding too much in. "About yesterday?" he asked. "Yes." He nodded once, like he already knew how this conversation would end. "Okay," he said. "Talk." But suddenly the words I had rehearsed all night didn't matter. Not when I saw what I had done to him. Not when guilt swallowed every sentence before it reached my tongue. "Brandon, I'm sorry." He let out a faint, humorless breath. "That's it." "No, I didn't know how to handle everything. I didn't know what to say." "You could have said anything," he cut in softly. "Literally anything. But you said nothing. I felt the sting of it, because it was true." He continued, eyes fixed on the empty field. "You didn't have to choose me. I didn't expect that. But I thought you'd at least stand with me. For a second, for 1 second." My voice cracked. I was scared. "So was I," Brandon said, but I still stepped toward you. I looked down, hands trembling. "I know, and I should have. Doesn't matter now." "Yes, it does," I insisted. "You put yourself out there. You risked your reputation, your friends, your whole world." And I just froze. He didn't deny it. He didn't soften it. He didn't make it easier for me, because I didn't deserve easy. "I grew up hearing what people expect from me," he said quietly. "The golden boy, the straight guy, the future athlete, the guy who has everything together." He paused. "But for the first time, I wanted something for myself. And that something was you." My breath faltered. "Brandon." He finally looked at me, really looked, and the pain in his eyes nearly buckled my knees. "You broke something in me yesterday," he whispered, "and I don't think I can trust myself to hope again." Those words sliced deep. I stepped closer. "Then let me fix it." He shook his head slowly, gently, like the answer hurt him as much as it hurt me. "You can't," he said. "Not because you don't care. I know you do. But because you're not ready to be who I need someone to be." My throat tightened. "I can try." "You shouldn't have to try," Brandon said softly. "Not for this. Not for me. When you love someone, it shouldn't feel like drowning." I felt tears burn at the corners of my eyes. Hot, desperate, useless tears. "So this is it?" I whispered. "We just walk away?" He swallowed hard. "I don't want to," he said. "God, you have no idea how much I don't want to." Then he looked at the field again, voice barely steady. "But wanting you and hurting because of you are starting to feel like the same thing." My knees grew weak. I sat beside him, not touching, not begging, just sitting in the only silence that felt honest. "What happens now?" I asked. Brandon let out a long, shaky breath. "Now," he said, "you figure out who you are, and I try to put myself back together." A single tear slid down his cheek. He didn't wipe it. "And maybe," he added quietly, "in another life, another version of us might have worked." My heart cracked wide open. "I'm sorry," I whispered again, because it was the only truth left. He nodded. "I know." We sat there for a long time, two boys who could have been something, sitting on cold metal steps as the wind carried away every possibility we once held in our hands. Eventually he stood. "I'll see you around," he said. But the way he said it told me clearly. We were done, not because of him, but because of what I destroyed. He walked down the bleachers slowly, hands in his pockets, shoulders hunched against the wind. I watched him go, and I didn't call his name. I didn't chase him, because this time I finally understood. Some endings aren't about losing love. They're about admitting you weren't ready to receive it.